make him an offer he can't refuse.
Well, I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
You think you can thank me? Give me a fucking army you're gonna thank me!
You shit-kicking, stinky horse-smelling motherfucker, you!
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Say hello to my little friend!
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Hello everyone, welcome back to Eternal Midnight, and we are at the final month. And for our theme month, we already did Home Alone, and we're doing the other half, the ugly side, the two-faced side, crime. So in Christmas and Crime, we did Home Alone for Christmas in the first week, and now we're doing crime. So what better way to start off the crime weekend than The Godfather Part 1 and Part 2? So Chad, what do you think of The Godfather Part 1?
I'd have to say, like, in my lifetime, I've probably watched the movie from beginning to end 5 times. And obviously, like, if you look at, like, almost, like, I think on IMDb, it's still rated, like, the highest film of all time. You see on lists, it's rated, like, the best movie of all time and all that. And I don't mean this as a diss against the movie, because it is a great film. How is this the greatest film of all time? I like, that's something I don't get, because the greatest of something obviously comes down to taste. Yeah. Like, I've seen some people have, like, lists and, like, their top 5 favorite movies of all time. Like, they have, like, 4 superhero films or something. Or I've seen, like, other types of, like, dramas or coming to age or tragedies or something. But it's just like, I like the film, I really do. But greatest of all time, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's probably one of the greatest crime movies of all time.
Oh, I could see it because, like, we talked about this off air. Like, compare this to, like, Casino or Goodfellas. I'd have to say, artistically, this is much better. Yeah, I would probably rather watch Goodfellas or Casino because they're more entertaining. But when it comes to an artistic level, I'd have to say Godfather easily takes the cake.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say it's one of the greatest crime movies of all time. I'm just not saying it's because, like, the greatest movie is subjective. Because, like, there are people out there who don't like crime movies. I've met people who like my mom. My mom would, like, if she did up 5 best movies of her life, I don't think she'd put Godfather up there because she's never wanted to watch Godfather. She hates crime movies. So I don't think that she would put that on there. But me, who I personally love crime movies, I'd say, yeah, for me, I think Godfather, to me personally, it is one of the best movies of all time for me because I love crime movies. But I'm not saying, like, but I don't think, like, it's universally that thing, because there are people out there who don't like it.
Well, it's like, that's why I compared it to IMDb, and I know IMDb isn't, like, the end-all be-all, but it's like, I think it's still #1 on there, and you see it on all kind of lists. And like I said, I don't mean to be bashing it. I just wanted to kind of, like, get that out of the way right at the beginning. So that way it's like, because, like, going forward, it's like, it's pretty much all positivity going forward. That I wouldn't even say that's a negative. That was just more of like a question I'm throwing out there to think about, because I know there's people out there who, you might agree, but it's like I said, whenever I talk to most people, I personally don't know anybody who has, like, Godfather on their top 5 films of all time.
Yeah, I'd say that it is really a perfect crime movie, but to be at #1 on all the lists, I think it's just, like, stretching it a bit too much, because there are a lot of people out there who don't like crime movies, and rightfully so. So,
but this one, I'd say, when it comes to crime, almost maybe that is part of the appeal of it, is because it's like, while it is a crime movie, it's like, it feels still so differently from, like, it feels so differently from some of the others. Like we said, Goodfellas, Casino, Snatch, Layer Cake. It feels different from all of those. And yes, different decades, time periods they're made in. But I almost feel like this dove deeper into it. Like the movie isn't full of, yes, while it has its guns, its action scenes, the movie isn't focused around its action scenes. It's centered around this family and basically what this family's lives are like being part of the top of a crime family. And I think they did it brilliantly.
They really did. It's like this. The Godfather really has an operatic feel to it. Like it's like you're watching an opera happen.
Mm-hmm.
You are basically seeing what these lives of people are like, how it affects them. And I think I think everyone does a great job. Marlon Brando is iconic in this. Al Pacino is like, I think this is his best role, but my favorite role is Scarface. His best role, I think, is this. And even like his brothers, like Talia Shire from the Rocky franchise is in here playing Michael's sister, and Sonny and Fredo are also really good. So I think it has like a sense of like, you know, like when I talk about operatic film, I mean like that scene where that guy wakes up to find the horse's head in his bed.
That was awesome.
The way the music keeps up and it you know, it reveals like the horse's head's there and like it's like I'm like, oh shit, you know.
Can you imagine waking up and you got blood all over you? Look down, there's a horse's head down by your feet.
Oh yeah,
you'd probably have a heart attack too, just like he would.
Oh yeah, I really would. And I love how there's like practically no CGI in this. It's all practical effects.
There's no this was long before CGI, so no CGI.
Yeah, and like the editing's really done well when Michael kills those two people in the restaurant, and he does.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, the blood was like real blood and all that. And I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome.
See, that's why to me if practicals can be used, do it because they look real. CGI blood always looks terrible. And like that when Sollozzo and the chief of police got shot, it looked real. They looked like they actually got killed. And it's like
Sollozzo McCluskey.
Yep. Yeah, they did a damn good job. And when it comes to the casting, let's talk about some of the major players.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, Marlon Brando is Vito Corleone. Just one of the most iconic things about film, like in all of film history.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny thing is, out of all the characters, he almost does the least, if you think about it.
Yeah.
The first 20, 25 minutes, he's active, but then he's in the hospital and he doesn't really do anything until past the halfway point, almost once Michael comes back from Italy.
And he dies.
Yeah.
But then the thing is like, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, like, this guy is intimidating. Like, he brings, like, you know, this guy can kill you any second by an order like that. I mean, like, the way, like, that opening scene of that one dude, the funeral pyre, I believe in America, and you know, and he's telling him like, I want you to kill some guys who fuck my daughter, and he's like, what did I ever do for you to treat me so disrespectfully? I was like, oh shit! Like the first time I watched it, like, oh, is he gonna kill him like right now? He's like, I can imagine, but like, nah, he's like, he's very intimidating, and I really feel.
We'll cover it more when we hit part 2, but you can see it. Like if you watch 1 and 2 back to back, like I did when I did this, you can massively see the difference between Vito and Michael. Vito is an incredibly different character than Michael was. Vito is far more, I feel, respected yet feared, whereas Michael, I don't think ever had the respect that Vito did.
Yeah, I think Michael had the fear because he was willing to do what other people wouldn't, but I don't think Michael had the respect. I don't think Michael got any respect until like halfway, until like maybe the third movie, honestly.
Whatever happened between 2 and 3, I feel, is when the respect for his character went up. But I feel like in this one, it's so bump to him. What I like about his character, and I wish they dwelled on this a little longer. I liked his character, but I feel like we never really got to see the side of Michael before he got pushed into the family business. Like, I wanted to see more of who was the Michael that Kay fell in love with,
Yeah,
that we saw her with at the beginning of the movie.
yeah, because ultimately, The Godfather is a transformation movie. It is Michael's transformation from a guy that you think is decent. He's watching the wedding and he's disgusted by everything. Like, that's my family, that's not me. I don't want to be part of their business. To essentially being pulled in, because like I think the point of no return and where the transformation starts for me is when he shot Sollozzo McCluskey.
Mine was before that, honestly. Mine was the hospital when the baker showed up to bring Vito the flowers, and they had to stand out front to act like they were like bodyguards there. So the opposing family, Cumio's, whoever the family was, that were sending hitmen to kill Vito, and him and the baker had to stand there, and the cops showed up and they punched Michael. And you could just like see that was when Michael, to me, that was the moment when Michael really changed. Yes, killing McCluskey and Sollozzo is what like solidified it, but I'd say it really started that night at the hospital.
I can see that. I mean, like every transformation movie has like that one turning point, and then you can all like argue which one it was. For me, like for example, Joker. For me, I argued like with my friends that Joker, the turning point for him was when Joker killed those three Wall Street guys in the subway, and he started dancing like, oh, he's becoming the Joker. But others said it was before that. Others said actually it was when he was hit with the sign, and a lot of those. I personally believe it was when he killed Sollozzo McCluskey. Yes, I think. I do agree that at that point in the hospital it was something like in range, but I don't think he ever really became the Michael Corleone we know by the end, or he started to become it until that point of no return where he murdered Sollozzo McCluskey. I think that was what set in stone his path to like a point of no return, and where it ends at part 3, and we'll talk about it later. Because if you really look at it like 1, 2, 3, if you watch it all in one go, it's really a story of tragedy. A story of this one guy's rise to power, his loneliness, and eventually his death as an ordinary dude with nothing left. But we'll get to that.
Mm-hmm.
And also I also really was super sad when Michael's wife, the first wife, died, because I didn't expect that.
That was so messed. I don't want to say what I enjoyed about that, but what I liked about that was it was like, while Michael wasn't hiding, he was trying to make a happy life for himself in Italy, but it's almost like he always knew it was fake. He always knew he was going to have to go back to the States at some point.
Yeah.
And then when she got killed I think that guy Fabrizio's, when Fabrizio, I believe, betrayed him and she got killed, that's when it was like, it's time to go back. Like, yes, this whole fake life where I've been trying to be happy here is done. It's time to go back and face the real world almost.
Yeah, exactly. And I really feel that it was so like he was happy, but he knew he had a job to do, because he knew that the minute he murdered Sollozzo McCluskey, that's why it's a turning point for me, that he have to go back and be this part of this crime family now. The very thing he was trying to avoid when he was at the wedding. Because like now it is a point of no return. He cannot go back to being the Michael that Kay knows, because he already went too far. He tipped over the edge, And I love it when he goes back and he says, if I'm gonna be this crime guy, I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna do it with no remorse. And we didn't talk about him that much last time, but I love Sonny. I really do.
I do too. Sonny was a great character. The scary thing is he never would have made a good Don, though.
Yeah, I don't see him making
his temper alone and his his like the whole reasoning why they tried to kill Vito was to get Sonny in charge because they knew that Sonny would go along with the drugs. And I feel that the way Sonny was with his attitude, his violence, his temper, he would have destroyed the Corleone family. He did not have the patience to sit and think forward. He was a very do it now. There's I'm not worried about tomorrow. I'm worried about right now. Whereas Michael was like, I need to think 5 years from now. So Michael obviously was the better choice. Sonny would have been a great number 2 to him, though, if Sonny hadn't gotten killed.
Michael's obviously the better choice, but Sonny would be number 2. I don't think Fredo would have even made the cut.
Fredo was nothing. Fredo, I mean, we'll cover Fredo more next, but Fredo, I mean, that's what Fredo was. Stick him somewhere only because he's family.
Yeah. I don't think Fredo would have done anything like really important if he was a Don. I think he would have caved like immediately. but Michael always was the better strategist, and he had enough he actually kept his temper in check, you know. He wasn't like out there like Sonny. But like remember like when Sonny found out that the sister was like beaten up, he immediately went to the husband and like started kicking his ass. And I guess
Carlo deserved it because Carlo was a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit, but like yeah, and also another really good guy that we haven't talked about really is Robert Duvall as Tom Hagen, the consigliere. Really, really good performance. I was surprised. Man, he looks so young. Good. Like I was just seeing Robert Duvall so old, but now he looks so young. I'm like, wow, man, you were a legend back in the day, weren't you? And he was so good as like, you know, providing like advice to Vito, and I feel like Duvall really like held his ground against, you know, Marlon Brando and Al Pacino in the same movie. That's amazing. So like, let's talk about the mob hits. What was your favorite mob hit for you?
It's gonna sound cliche. The end.
Oh yeah, the end scene.
All the executions during the baptism. That was that was just like one of the that's like probably one of the most standoutish things of this entire movie is while Michael is getting ordained as like the godfather of Connie's child, his men are just wiping out all the other heads of the families in
that was
green.
So awesome. I love that happening because like Michael's like the story is like, do you reject Satan? And then I was like, yes. And then you can see like Michael's men doing work, like killing people. I was like, damn, that's awesome. And even like what's made me really sad, the traitor, Vito's old friend. What was his name again? Vito's old friend, mm-hmm. the one Michael took away in the car, and we never see him again.
Oh, Tessio. When he betrayed Michael. Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to betray.
That was such a good scene too, where he's just like, they're getting ready to go, and they're just like, all right, take him away. Hey, Tom, can you get me off the hook for old time's sake? Can't do that, Sally.
Can't do that, Sally. Oh shit!
It's just like the music plays, and he just slowly walks off with all the men, and it's like he knows he's gonna be dead within the next 10-15 minutes.
He's gonna be dead in a dish somewhere, honestly.
Well, it's because Vito told him earlier. He's like, whoever tries to set up the meeting is the one who's gonna betray you.
Yeah, and it was Tessio, which sucks because Tessio was like one of Vito's oldest friends, and
yeah, as we see in the next one, he'd been there since the beginning. It's just sad that it's like, I almost want to know what caused Tessio in his old age to turn on the Corleone family like he did after having known Vito since they were young men.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, he even said it was business. It wasn't personal, but at the same time, it's like, after this long, at the age you're at, what more did they offer you? You're already rich.
And I really did like also I also really like the murder of Carlo.
Oh, he deserved it.
That guy deserved it. He really deserved it.
I just love when Michael confronts him in the house, and he's just like tried to deny it.
Yeah.
He's trying to deny it, and Michael's like, "Don't fucking lie to me." Don't fucking lie to me. And Carlos sitting there like crying, and he's like, "We're sending you out to Vegas. I'll tell your wife where you're going." Put him in the car. I think it was Clemenza who killed him, wasn't it?
Clemenza was gonna kill him, like for sure. It was
Hi,
like,
Carlo. Puts the Garrett around his throat. It's like, bye bye, you bastard.
when I was watching it, the minute that they put, that's always the thing. When they made the guy sit in front, that's it. Because the guy's gonna come up behind and strangle him. That was the whole point, you know.
Who was that who got killed at the beginning? That was Paulie, right? In the car when they shot him in the head?
Yeah. While he was
I just always love that. Shoot him in the head. He just slumps forward. I think it was Al Neri who shot him. He gets out, and Clemenza's just like, "Hey, don't forget the cannolis."
Yeah.
And they just walk away and leave his body there out in the sticks.
It's awesome. I really love how the hits are done in these movies because they're never CGI. They're all practical effects. So that it seems way more real.
It seems real and raw, which is the way a gangster film should feel. And that's another thing I think that really elevates this film is how real it actually feels all the way through. The gunshots sound like they have weight to them. When every bullet that's fired, it sounds like it's real and it's got something behind it.
Yeah, exactly. And my favorite scene in the entire movie is, in all honesty, and I'm not joking you, the end.
The last scene.
I love the end. It's perfect. The Carlo gets strangled, and then we like this. It's perfect setup. We see Talia Shire running in, and she's crying, and and she's like, Michael got Carlo killed, and and she gives like sufficient evidence to assume that Michael did it, and then read the papers, that's your husband, and like she's talking to Kate, that's your husband right there, and I was like, and I love that. And that ending when I first watched it, it blew me away because that's how we know Michael Corleone at this point is not the Michael Corleone we know at the very beginning. Like, you know how the Murray show, just like it's the full transformation of Joker into like Arthur Fleck into actually Joker. This one's also like this, that when Kay asks him, Michael, is it true? And he asks me, don't ask about my business. It's like, is it true? Don't ask me, Kay. Is it true? Enough. And then he looks at her and says, okay, this one time, ask me about my affairs. And like, is it true? No, it's not. And like, oh my God, he straight up lied to
the woman he claimed to love.
Yeah, the one like that's
looks her in the eyes and blatantly lies. It's like, you are pure evil at this point. Then
yeah, you are like that. That's a different Michael. And that last shot is so perfect when he goes out and when Kate goes out and she's getting herself wine, looks at Michael, and then they're kissing hands like Don Corleone, and then that last shot of Kay looking at Michael before the door closing, and you can see in her face, she just knew that Michael lied to her.
It was a look of absolute fear. It was like a look of absolute fear of like, what have I actually gotten myself into? Yeah.
Now she's stuck in a marriage with the Don of the Corleone family, and it's
with a monster basically.
And it's not gonna turn out well. It's gonna be a life full of tragedy. So yeah. Godfather Part 1, a very solid, perfect crime movie, and I really love it. It is still my favorite crime movie, although there's a lot more other good crime movies out there. I'm just like saying it's my favorite one. And then now we move on to the very good sequel, Godfather Part 2. So what do you think of Godfather Part 2, Chad?
So before we do that, I wanted to bring up a little bit of trivia. I think I told you this off air, but I think some people would find this interesting.
Yeah.
So I was looking at budget and box office for both of the movies, and I thought this was really interesting, and I almost want to know why. So the first Godfather, budget, 6 to 7.2 million.
No.
Box office, 246 to 287 million. That's a damn good return. And that's really good for 1972. So jumping to Godfather 2, those numbers right here, budget 13 million, about double what the first one was.
Yeah.
Box office between 48 and 88 million. That is a hell of a drop.
Oh yeah.
That is that is like as big a drop as Last Jedi was to Force Awakens. That is massive to drop by that much.
Yeah.
And it just makes me wonder why, because it's like
It's still a good movie.
when it comes to Godfather 2, I'm definitely of two minds of this one because there's two stories being told in this movie. Michael's story, I think, is extremely convoluted. I think it's very confusing.
Oh yeah.
I think it's very long, and I'm genuinely not that interested in Michael's story in the slightest. I am far more invested and involved in Vito Corleone's story. Vito's story, and Vito being played by Robert De Niro.
That's just perfect.
Spot on.
That's just perfect.
Incredible. Everything about Vito's story from beginning to end, I think is incredible. This is how you do a prequel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They did a damn good job.
Honestly, like a sequel prequel thing, you know? I mean, like,
how often do we get those nowadays? Like, never.
Never, but like, this was way awesome. Like no joke.
This was almost ahead of its time, if you think about it.
I was watching Godfather Part 2, and no joke, every time Michael's story is coming, and I'm really not just genuine. But the moment Vito comes on, it's like, okay, yeah, wait, I want to see what happens. Because Vito's story was amazing. I mean, like, Vito, like, his story of being shipped out from Italy because his family died, and then, like, making a name for himself in NYC is amazing. I love it. I really do.
And that's why like I said, going back to what I said in the first one, Vito has far more respect because unlike Michael, Vito was not handed the throne. Vito had to build his kingdom. And the way he did it was proper. Like, Vito treated people with respect. Like, you saw it at that one point where that one, like, merchant was trying to give him something for free. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly what Vito did, but the merchant was trying to give him some stuff for free, and Vito was just like, no, you keep it, sir. You don't owe me anything. You keep it. And it's like, by him doing that made the respect of that merchant go up for Vito. That man was like, I can look at this man and respect him and trust him, knowing I wanted to give him something for free, and he felt he was unworthy or deserving of it. And it's like, that is something where it's like, that's the type of respect you cannot buy. That is a definite respect that is earned. And that's why Vito, to me, Vito as the Godfather, even though we saw far less of him throughout these three movies, I think he will always be like the definitive lead of the Corleone family, even more than Michael was.
Oh yeah, for sure. Vito was like the number one guy. I mean, like, all the mob hits in these movies come from the best ones. Come from Vito. Vito's like when he's chasing that white guy, that guy in the white suit on the rooftops, and he goes down, and like he's like, "What you got there?" He points the gun, and boom, like
an early silencer. you wrap like a blanket around the gun, and then he just robs the dude and leaves him there.
Awesome, I love it, and I mean, like, Michael's story isn't that bad. I mean, like, there are some interesting points, like when he finds out Fredo is a traitor, and like he's basically a rat to his own family.
That, I think, was the biggest point of Michael's story. The rest was just,
yeah. Like, I'm
sorry, I've watched this one as many times as the first one, because I always watch 1 and 2 back to back. And I can never really follow it. I still don't. Obviously, if I want, I can read the synopsis on Wikipedia. But it's like, I still don't get it. I still don't get how all these dots were connected. I still don't get how everything was going. It's like, obviously, if Fredo had never let slip that when he said he didn't know Johnny Ola, and then Michael overheard him say, "Oh yeah, I've been to this club before. Johnny Ola took me here." And he's like, "Oh, Fredo's been lying." And it's like, suddenly he's able to connect all the dots in his head that Fredo set it up, and I still don't get it. I'm sorry if that makes me sound like really stupid, but I'm genuine. It still confuses me.
That scene was awesome. The Sicilian kiss of death, where he's like, he kisses Fredo, and he's like, "I know it was you, Fredo. I know it was you." Which I honestly, I love that Samara Weaving references to that in The Babysitter.
Yes,
And I know it was you, Fredo. I know it was you. Like, oh shit, dude. Yeah, I like that means like Fredo's he's a marked man now.
Well, and you could see it even like that when the revolt started and Michael and gang were ready to get out of there and he saw Fredo. He's like, Fredo, let's go. And Fredo's like terrified of him. I mean, I don't blame him. I wouldn't go with him either. But Michael's like, this is the only way out of here. It's like, but at the same time, it's like, why? So you can throw me out of the plane when we're over the ocean heading home? Hell no.
I'm sure like Michael's like, don't worry, I'm not gonna kill you yet. Like,
yeah.
The worst possible time. Like, for sure, like Fredo should have known like what he was getting into, and for sure, if he was gonna die, he wasn't gonna die with both his parents still alive.
Well, when Michael ordered the hits on all of those Dons, Fredo should have known this is a force to be reckoned with, and he never should have gotten involved in the bullshit that he did. I mean, all Fredo had to do was keep his head down and be his unintelligent self the remainder of his life, and he would have been fine. He could have done whatever he wanted. Yeah, hung out at casinos, had all the money in the world, but he screwed it all up for, like I said, reasons I don't understand why. He was never going to be head of the Corleone family. It would have crumbled within. If Michael had been successfully assassinated and Fredo had taken over as the head of the Corleone family, it would have crumbled within 1 month.
Oh yeah, for sure. He wouldn't have the stones or the balls to actually.
He would have lost everything because basically, like all of the politicians and senators that like Michael and Vito had in their pockets, they never would have worked with Fredo. He would have lost all of that influence, and he would have been bullied out of every investment the Corleone family had, and it would have been over. So it's like Fredo never would have been a good leader.
Yeah, but like going back to Vito, and we flash back to him a lot. I love the fact that he's building his empire, and basically we are looking at it from like, I'm gonna build the castle myself, and I don't care how many people die because of it. And then like I love it when he builds his empire, he goes back to Italy and kills that poor old dude, and then it's just like, you killed my father, and he slashes the guy on the stomach like, oh, that was brilliant. That was the best mob head in the movie, honestly.
Got what he deserved.
Yeah, he did, and I love that, you know, Vito, like he's so old, but he never forgot that. He never forgot that what that family did to him.
He was back for the revenge. He lost his father, brother, mother, all to this man.
Yeah, and he straight up killed them, and then honestly, a character I feel so bad for in this movie is Kay.
Oh.
Kay is straight up terrified of Michael.
She tries so hard to be strong, but she can't. There's only she's obviously much stronger in part 3, which we'll get to next week. But it's like she tried so hard in this one, and I cannot blame her for trying her hardest. But it's like, having never personally been in an abusive relationship myself, I can't imagine what she was going through. Having an extremely controlling, evil husband like Michael, who, like when she says it to him later, like when Michael thought that she miscarried and then found out that she got an abortion, like that alone, the fact that she had to lie about that shows how scared she actually is and why she did it. Because she's like, I don't need another kid in this world. Look what he's already doing to our 2 kids that we have. I'm not doing it to another one.
When Kay revealed, I honestly didn't expect it. I didn't think that Kay was the type to abort. But like when she revealed it, I like, oh my god, I completely get it. I really completely get it.
The fact that she had the balls to actually do that, knowing that potentially could have cost her life. Like Michael could have killed her for that.
Yeah, she's like, and she was like saying, it was a boy. It was a boy. It was a son that you could have raised, but I didn't let him do it because you're a monster. And Michael just like slaps her. Did she slap? He slaps her, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh shit. Like I feel so bad for both of them right now because Michael is not anymore the Michael she fell in love with. He's not anymore that guy that said, that's not my family, Kay. It's not. It's my family.
That Michael is dead and gone.
Dead. He died.
It's like it's almost like at the beginning of this, it's almost like at the beginning of the first Godfather, he was like the Anakin Skywalker boy that we saw in Phantom Menace. And now we're looking at like the way Michael is in this movie is almost like the Darth Vader of Rogue One and A New Hope.
Yeah,
He's beyond reachable at this point, aside from like something huge happening. And it does not happen in this movie. And it happens in between 2 and 3 somehow. But it's like, even jumping to the end, the execution of Fredo, and just seeing Michael standing there alone. It's like his father is dead. His older brother is dead. He just called the hit on his only surviving brother. His mother has passed away. Him and his wife are finished. His sister is a train wreck. Michael has no one. All he has is his empire. And it's like, you can almost see it as he's standing there looking out over the lake. It's almost like you almost want to be there next to him and look at him and be like, was it worth it?
Yeah.
Was everything worth it? For what you have now, was it worth it? What you had to go through to get here?
He's basically a lonely king. He's a lonely king. He sacrificed everything for the kingdom. And now, but like, what's a kingdom without any people to celebrate it with?
Exactly.
Like,
and he's got...
And that final shot of like, you know, of Michael, like the final flashback, not the final shot, the final flashback we have of Michael eating with his family, like, you know, Sonny and Fredo and the sister, and like, I joined the army, like, and I volunteered, and Tom Hagen it flashed to the present, and it, you know, it's just Michael eating there alone, and he has no one. He has his whole that's the best symbolism ever. He has his whole feast to himself and no one to share it with.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one to share it. There's no one to talk to because they're all dead by either his hand or another person's hand.
Or they've abandoned him.
Yeah. So like, and man, when we see Fredo praying and, you know, he gets shot and like, oh, that's it. I mean, like, and the final shot is Michael looking over a sunset, doing like this and wondering like if it was all worth it, and it cuts to black.
I thought it was perfect because it's like, and it's like, while this could have been the last one, I think Godfather 3 was needed.
Yeah, but it's gonna get better for him, right?
Sure. Yeah, it gets better for him. We'll go that route. I mean, it doesn't get any. Well, never mind. I'll say it doesn't get any worse, but I don't know about that either. So, Godfather 2. What do you think of it as a sequel? Do you think it could have been better, or it lived up to what it should have been?
I think it's perfect. I really like it. I mean, like, the best sequels out there expand on the world, expand on the characters, do it justice. I mean, I like, you know how I say like Christopher Columbus was the best director to do the first 2 Harry Potter films, because Chamber of Secrets is straight up a proper sequel to Philosopher's Stone. It expounds on Hogwarts. It expands on what the Hogwarts mythos is, what's happening, what are the racial slurs. Same thing with Godfather Part 1 and Part 2. It expands on Michael's story and what he's doing after. At the same time, it gives us background to Vito's character and what he was during the times when he was building the empire. So we can see how much the empire is worth and what it costs to maintain it.
Exactly.
So basically, you know, that's it for the first Crime Weekend. So tune in next week because we will be doing another Christmas movie. Well, not technically a Christmas movie because it's about all the holidays.
And the funny thing is, I just started it. It's almost more of an Easter movie.
Exactly.
I was like watching it, and I was like, "This is an Easter. Let's keep it a secret." But I was like, "This is an Easter movie." But it's got Santa Claus in it, so who cares?
Yeah, and on Crime Weekend next week, it's gonna be Godfather Part 3, and Goodfellas. I'll ask him to be awesome.
Nice.
I can't wait for that. All right. So I've been Santino. Thank you for listening. Signing off.
I'm Chad. Thanks for tuning in.